The newest fight at the Supreme Court isn't over the Constitution. It is over cameras. Some members of Congress want the court to televise its proceedings, and justices are a bit resistant. Jan Crawford and her camera are outside on the steps of the Supreme Court. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. And of course, that's where cameras have to stay at the Supreme Court, on the outside. That's just one of the things that's different here, usually in Washington and of course in California too. People are falling all over themselves to get on television, but that is not how the justices like to do things.
Strong congressional oversight.
This is how most politicians feel about cameras.
It was Mr. Joyce.
They can't get enough of them. But at the Supreme Court, this is what it's like for the justices.
And what happened to the Eighth Amendment?
No videos, no photographs, just sketch artists, and an audio tape that is usually made public a few days later. A group of senators is trying to change that and force the court to install cameras.
We have Dole on 2, Byrd on 1.
Just like Congress agreed to, the House in 1979, and the Senate 7 years later after years of resistance. It may be a noble effort to educate the public, but most court watchers agree that retired Justice David Souter's sentiments still hold strong. The day you see a camera come into our courtroom, it's going to roll over my dead body. Souter's comments came in 1996, shortly after the televised murder trial of O.J. Simpson, a circus overseen by Judge Lance Ito that became Exhibit A for what could go wrong when television comes into court. Most justices, most recently Justice Elena Kagan, have no problem with cameras before they join the court.
That I think it would be a terrific thing to have cameras in the courtroom.
But once they take the bench, they have a different view.
There are a few worries about that. I mean, one is that people would kind of, play to the cameras, and sometimes you can see this when you watch congressional hearings.
Senator Mike Lee has a unique perspective. He clerked for Justice Samuel Alito and says he will vote against the Senate bill.
They're not sure what impact it might have on the lawyers who might engage in showboating. Number two, some of them are not sure what effect it might have on their colleagues who might engage in showboating to a degree or another in their questioning on the bench. They don't necessarily want to turn it into a circus.
The justices do give the occasional interview, but that is rare and it's pretty controlled. And I think there's another reason why they don't want the cameras here. They like their anonymity. They like going to the grocery store, the hardware store, and no one knows who they are. In fact, retired Justice Sandra Day O'Connor would always tell the story about how one time she was walking back with her clerks on this sidewalk, and a tourist approached her and asked her to take his picture by himself in front of the Supreme Court. No idea the photographer was a justice. Anthony and Nora.
I love that story. Jan Crawford, thanks so much.